Hi, I'm Brian Kleinhans. I'm a forester for Sealaska Corporation, and I'm involved in a research project in cooperation with the U.S. Forest Service and Oregon State University to look at red and yellow cedar trees. The goal of the planting is to figure out ways to protect them from browsing of deer. Deer like to eat red and yellow cedar trees when there's not a lot of other good nutritional forage available for them. And we have about 2,500 red cedar and 2,500 yellow cedars. That's 5,000 seedlings that we've planted here in the summer 2013. And there's 3 different sizes. So we have 1-year-old seedlings, 2-year-old seedlings, and 3-year-old seedlings that we're all going to plant. And then in order to protect them from the deer browse, we're going to try a number of different things. So the first thing we're going to do is just plant the trees without any protection and see what happens. See how much nibbling they get, see how much the deer harass them. The second thing we're going to do is we have a deer repellent. It's a kind of blood meal, so it's a powdered blood meal, and then we mix it with water and spray it on the trees. And the idea is that when the deer get nearer, they kind of smell blood and then they scamper away. It invokes a fear response. In addition to that repellent, we're also going to put a physical barrier over some of the trees. When we've done this to about 1,000 trees, where we've put a big plastic cone over the top of them, and then the deer have no way to get to the seedlings. But it acts kind of like a greenhouse. The trees grow fine in them, but it keeps the deer away. The other thing we're going to do is what we consider a late season planting, a mid-June planting of the trees. The idea is that by the time mid-June rolls around, there's going to be enough delicious other kinds of plants available. Everything will be greened up. Herbs and little plants that the deer actually like to eat will be available, and then they won't eat the cedar trees. And cedar has really poor nutritional value for deer. They really only eat it when there's nothing else around to munch on. In 2013, the summer 2013, we've got the bulk of the trees planted already, and the rest of the summer we're going to be measuring the trees and doing the late planting. So we're measuring a couple different things. Each tree has its own tag, and they're all numbered. Every tree is uniquely identified with a tag and a number, and we're going to measure their heights, and we're going to measure their diameters, and we're also going to try to measure how easy or difficult it is for the deer to get to them. So if they're buried in branches and other plants, and it's hard for the deer to get their snout in to nibble them, we're going to try to measure that so that we get an idea for how accessible they are. So the reason that Sealaska is so interested in cedar research and the ability to plant cedar trees is that we want to be able to provide cedar trees in the future for tribal member shareholders. It's a very important cultural species. Carving, weaving, canoe building, red and yellow cedar have been very important, and we want to make sure that future generations of shareholders have the same opportunities for that kind of cultural activity that this generation of shareholders did. Please follow our research on sealaska.com, where you'll find regular updates on how the project is going.